Welcome to the Butterfly Effect. Today is stage 3 of the 2020 Giro. We have not been disappointed in any of the bike racing this year, and stage 3 was going to continue to live up to the status of 2020 bike racing. First, I went to bed last night telling you Garrett Thomas was my favorite to win this year's Giro. He looked fantastic when he crossed the line yesterday. I said a picture tells 1,000 words, and I meant it. Today, another picture, same rider, curled up on the fetus position on the concrete as he crashed when his back wheel hit a bottle, slid to the side of the curb, and his Giro hopes of winning are gone and finished within a second. It's over. G. Thomas's crash we're going to break down. I got a couple water bottles set up in the road, and I'll show you how simple it is for the bikes to normally ride over these when it's a more controlled condition like we're seeing. Of course, today it's sunny, it's warm. I don't have 175 riders in front of me where I can't see the road. The water bottle's not really that dangerous when you can see it coming and you can prepare. But when you look at the video from G. Thomas on how his crash and why it happened, I'll break that down. First, I'll show you me just riding over a few bottles here real quick though. So that's no problem, right? Do you see how easy that was done? The bike rides right over it with no issue. The problem is for G. Thomas, when he hits the bottles, they're probably already loaded up with water and full. They can't compress. He's going downhill. The biggest problem is, though, really, when you'll see the video, his back wheel will hit the bottle. And I was lucky enough and it's controlled where I got to hit the bottle straight on. If he hits it like this and it's a full bottle, it won't compress. He hits it and it kicks the back wheel out. Now when it kicks the back wheel out, you'll see he's clipped into his pedals. He has both feet, imagine both feet clipped in. His back hits like this. What really causes him to go down after that, his pedal he comes out of his pedal. When he does, that throws his weight into a different direction, and now he can no longer control the bike sitting up straight. As long as you can hit the bottles with the bike up straight, both feet clipped into the pedals, you have a lot of control over your bike. When the bike's coming at that speed though, and you're hitting a full bottle and it doesn't collapse as easily as what I just showed you with those 3 bottles, that back wheel has to go somewhere. When it kicks out to the right, and especially when he loses his foot, comes disengaged from the pedal, that throws his weight all over the bike, and now he's over the bars, and before he knows it, his Giro is over and he's hurt on the road, curled up in the fetus position. Hopefully he's okay and he gets to continue in this Giro, but any hopes of winning it have been dashed in 1 second with one stupid bottle flying out in the road. He would not be the only favorite at this year's race to have problems. We have a summit finish on stage 3. It's Mount Etna, and the moment the climb starts proper, it's Simon Yates, Tour of Spain winner, out the back with his hopes getting destroyed. Does he have some to come back at this year's Giro? He's close enough if he can pull some kind of magic. There better be a rabbit out of the hat, though, if he's going to make up this kind of time and still win. Vincenzo Nibali's Trek Segafredo team, they see blood in the water. The shark is motivated. As soon as G. Thomas is at the back, even before the climb starts proper, Trek Segafredo send the whole team to the front to set the pace hard. I'm sure it was not in their meeting today to be so aggressive on Mount Etna, but when you see a rider of G. Thomas at the back suffering, you gotta believe it's time to change from plan A to plan B. Put the riders on the front, drill the pace as hard as they can. I was left a little bit dumbfounded at times when we were on the climb, really in the meat of the climb. Trek Segafredo, instead of just setting a vicious pace, they started covering some moves, which was a strange tactic to leave Nibali isolated at times. Later, they bring him back, and the team is together. They start setting the pace. Wilco Kelderman does a very good attack and starts going up the road and opens some daylight between him and the favorites, even jumping over the Ineos rider, Castro Viejo. Wilco Kelderman is going to have to be a rider now that we keep an eye on. I'm not sure if he's still at the level of Vincenzo Nibali and Jakob Fuglsang, who now have become my two favorites. Vincenzo was riding aggressive today. He looked really good. Jakob Fuglsang also looked like he had the ability to cover any attacks that were made on the last climb. Those two have got to be the favorites. EF Education, meanwhile, when the battle for GC is going on, EF Education has been using the same tactics at this Giro that they employed at the Tour de France this year. They're trying to send as many riders as they can in the early breaks in hopes of one, winning a stage, and two, possibly getting that magical race leader's jersey. They would get the stage today with a fine ride from Larson Craddock, setting up his teammate early on the climb, riding aggressively, pushing the pace as hard as he can. Now, Jonathan Caicedo does an amazing ride to solo to the finish. I can't really say he gave away time, but possibly he did. Later, when you'll see the finishing results, he's really tied for first, but they give the race lead to the Portuguese rider from Deceuninck Quick-Step. And you see with Jonathan Caicedo, as he crosses the line, he does pause just for a second to celebrate. I can't blame him for that, but that clearly cost him the pink jersey at this Giro. So you got to know in the back of your mind that he's regretting it just a little bit. But he did get the stage win for EF Education. So they've already, in stage 3, got themselves a stage win and put on a spectacular show. Jonathan Caicedo did a great job. Possibly celebrated just a little bit early. I feel sorry for you, brother. The pink jersey would have been a great trophy to have along with the stage win, but who would have known? It's difficult to foresee that. Anyways, back down with the GC favorites, and we see Steven Kruijswijk. He's suffering to stay with the 4 of the best, maybe 5 if you count Wilco Kelderman, who's up the road. Steven Kruijswijk clearly is not here on 100% form. We discussed that earlier on the butterfly effect. He had the luck that the 4 up front were playing a couple games, so he's able to come back on, get detached, attach back on, get detached, and not lose much time as he crosses the line. It was a spectacular day of racing. Some of the tactics were a little bit strange to me when it came to the Trek Segafredo there in the middle of the race. And, of course, Ineosin and Castroviejo up the road early in the climb. I know he's not G. Thomas, but he's got to have been second in line. And so when they sent him up the road, I was kind of a little dumbfounded what that tactic would be. Clearly, he doesn't have the form of the favorites at this year's Giro. So now that once that became clear as they crossed the line, it was easier to see why they sent him early. But at the moment when he went, I got to believe that it might have been better to just leave him to follow wheels and do damage control and see if he can still be a GC threat for Team Ineos at this Giro. But with G. Thomas gone, that is the big news. Simon Yates, almost as big as news, losing quite a bit of time. I don't know if he can come back from this and recover and fight for the pink jersey at the 2020 Giro. We'll have to see. One thing we all know, the racing in 2020 has been spectacular. I look forward to the coming stages. This year's Giro has a lot of action for us. I hope you enjoyed my take on the butterfly effect. See you real soon.